Okay, so in this example, you're asked to identify the explicit costs and the implicit costs from a list of costs down here from Ibrahim's business, making pizzas, I think. Okay, so each item you should try to separate it into, is it explicit? I'll just write E for explicit. Or is it implicit? I'll just write I for implicit. Okay, so we'll go through each of these items, and before I say the answer, shout out, is this item explicit or implicit? And how will you figure it out? Well, if Ibrahim must hand over money for this cost, then it's explicit. If he doesn't need to hand over money, it's implicit. Okay, it's an opportunity cost. So the first one is his materials, his pizza dough, tomato sauce, and other ingredients, okay? And he will have to pay money for that. So we'll just put a little arrow here to say it's in the explicit cost side, okay? Wages, he'll need to pay his salaried employees of his business. Also, he's handing over money, so it's an explicit cost. Foregone interest. If his capital were just in the bank, he could have made interest. That is an opportunity cost, okay? So that will be an implicit cost. We put an arrow over there like that. Interest payments on loans to buy pizza ovens, okay? Well, does he need to hand over money for interest payments? Yes, he does. So this is explicit, okay? Electricity, he has to pay the electricity bill. It is explicit. Okay. Lease payment for the store, also explicit. He needs to pay money for that. Yeah. So all of these items with the arrow pointing this way are explicit costs. They'll show up in the accounts. Then we have foregone salary. That is the salary that Ibrahim himself could have earned if he had kept his job working, maybe making pizza for somebody else or working in a different restaurant, okay? And because he's not paying money for that, it is an opportunity cost or an implicit cost. So I'll put a little arrow over there into the implicit side. Okay, and the answers just goes through the full calculation of accounting costs, which is going to be accounted for here. Accounting profit, okay, which is his revenue minus his accounting costs, giving his accounting profit, okay, and economic profit. You can see the economic profit is his revenue minus his total costs. Here the accounting costs have subtracted out all of the implicit costs, which are opportunity costs that we identified on the previous page. Okay. Okay, so now we have a very good example of the difference between accounting profit and economic profit. Okay, we have an existing business that's been running for a long time. It's Mariam's grandfather's car repair shop. It's been operating for 37 years. Okay, and the important thing is that he owns the premises. Okay. So he has a revenue of 50,000 BD and he has costs that he pays out in cash, so explicit costs of 8,000 BD. Okay, now we're going to calculate his accounting profit. It's just going to be the 50,000 minus the 8,000. Okay, then we're going to calculate the economic profit. In order to calculate the economic profit, we must identify opportunity costs that Mariam's grandfather has. Okay, and the opportunity cost, a very large opportunity cost, is identified here. Okay, if he were to rent out the accommodation that he owns, the shop, then it would receive a market payment of 90,000. The going rate for such a premises is 90,000 BD. Okay, so we can see we're going to have a very interesting answer here, because he would have made more money if he were to have rented out the shop. Okay, so in terms of economic profit, he's actually making a loss. Okay, he's making less money than he otherwise could have. Okay, so here are the answers. His accounting profit is straightforward. It is his total revenue minus his total explicit costs. So it looks like he's making a lot of money, and he is. That's the money that he's bringing home, okay? But the economic profit is calculated differently. We not only subtract the explicit cost, but we also subtract the implicit cost, which is the opportunity cost. What could he have done with his time and premises that he owns? Okay, so we haven't looked at his time because maybe he alternatively would have just retired, right? So, but his premises could have been rented out for 90,000 BD. Okay, so when we take his 50,000 of revenues, subtract his 8,000 of explicit costs, and then subtract the 90,000 of implicit costs, the opportunity cost, then we can see we get a negative economic profit. Okay, so he is making an economic loss, a negative economic profit. So his accountant might be happy. His accountant would look at his books and say, oh great, you're making a great profit there. But he's not making a rational decision if he's trying to maximize the amount of money that he's making, because the opportunity cost of not renting out his premises exceeds his the benefit of using it for his shop that has been running for a long time. Okay, so an economist would say, well, maybe that isn't the best decision. Okay, if that is the basis upon which you're making your decision, you're trying to maximize the money that you have at the end of each month, you should close down your business and rent out your premises. That would be a better decision, a more rational decision, based on trying to maximize his the money that he's bringing home each month. Okay, maximize his economic profit. Okay, so let's look at another example. This time Fatima's restaurant made an accounting profit of 70,000 BD last year. Okay, if she had closed her restaurant and rented out the premises that she owns, if she'd rented out the premises as a gallery, she could have made 14,000 BD for that premises. Okay, so let's identify what is her accounting profit and what is her economic profit. Okay, remember the economic profit is going to be less than the accounting profit because we also subtract the implicit costs, which is the opportunity cost, which is this here. Okay, so we were given the accounting profit with 70,000 BD, but when we're considering economic profit, we also must subtract the opportunity cost, what she could have used that premises for. So we get a smaller number, but it's positive, so it's still worthwhile activity that she's engaged in, having this restaurant. Okay. Okay, another example. Iman opened a clothing shop. Okay, she spent 65,000 BD on the shop. So these are her explicit costs. That's the money that she actually paid out. Okay, she made 75,000 BD in revenue. So we can see that she's made a profit. Okay, she's made more than she's paid out. She's made a profit. Okay, but Iman is a very talented individual, and she was offered a job at Babco. Okay, and they offered her a salary of 35,000 BD per year. Okay, so what this is an opportunity cost. because she wasn't able to take this job and keep her clothing shop open. Yeah, so she went without this job here. This is what she would have done with her time had she not had to run this clothing shop. Okay, so we'll be able to now calculate what is Iman's accounting profit and what is her economic profit. Her accounting profit is pretty straightforward to calculate. It's just her revenue minus her explicit costs. So 75,000 BD minus 65,000 BD, she has made a profit of 10,000 BD. So her accountant is happy. You have a profitable business, the accountant says. Well done. But Iman knows that she could have taken that job at Babco. Okay, and she gave up the opportunity of making that salary. So for an economic profit calculation, she also must subtract the implicit costs, which is the opportunity cost. The thing that she would have done, what she would have made by doing that. In other words, what salary could she have made working for Babco instead of running her shop? Okay. When she subtracts this 35,000 BD, she ends up with a negative economic profit. So if she's getting a negative economic profit, an economist would say, you haven't made the best decision for yourself. Yeah, you could have made more money working for Babco than running your shop. Okay, running your shop, you made 10,000 BD. Working for Babco, you could have made 35,000 BD. So the difference there is minus 25,000. Okay, so it wasn't the best decision for her.